Yes, guys, welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. We are with you on thank you, Maliki. That is very, very generous. Wishing me a happy birthday. I guess I did put something on my Instagram. I haven't,
Let's say, wish me a happy birthday if you speak to me.
Happy 25th birthday to CH. Oh, CH, I didn't know you knew my age. Generous of you. Hey, everyone. Hope you're all good. Dean, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm a bit tired. The alarm did actually go off today. My alarm never goes off. I never get woken up by an alarm. And half hour ago, my alarm went off. And I'm like, oh, my God. So it's probably I'm a bit croakier this morning, maybe. But, yeah, I've got a Fulham top on, says Shiraz. Yeah, Fulham top. It's cold in this room. I'm going to have to turn this heater off in a minute. I've got a coffee. And it's your birthday, mate. So happy birthday. Gave me a bit of motivation to get here on time. I was like, geez, birthday, can't be late.
Oh, good, man.
He's got stuff to do. He's got stuff to do later.
We usually do the show on a Monday night in the evening in the UK time, so a decent hour for you. But it so happened that I was like, oh, maybe we can move it so I can go out this evening. I don't usually go out on Monday nights. I don't usually go out. And then also, I think you mentioned, is it your kids' school play or something?
He has actually got a school play at 11 today, yeah, my time. So
is it a nativity? What is?
It definitely won't be a nativity because there's no religion attached to their stuff that goes on in like the events out here. So it won't be a nativity.
That's why I asked. I did wonder.
No, it's definitely not that, but it's a Christmas play. I said, do you sing songs? He's like, no. I was like, Christmas carols? He's like, nope. I was like, what are we coming to watch? He's like, oh, we do a moon dance. I was like,
wow. Okay.
I have no idea really what we're going to. I know my littlest one, he's definitely doing Christmas songs because he keeps singing Feliz Navidad all the time. And he's 4 and he can't speak Spanish. So it's very funny listening to him sing it. So his has definitely got Christmas themes to it, but I don't know what I'm going to watch today, mate.
I've not asked you about Spanish-speaking nature of San Diego. Obviously, I've been to Miami a couple of times this year and realized, like, it's the second language, but it's the first language in Spanish in a lot of areas of Miami.
Same here.
Is it similar in San Diego? And will your kids learn both in school? Like, is Spanish really well taught in schools?
Yeah, in San Diego, it's obviously huge. Dylan has started having Spanish lessons now at school and will probably get to be very good at Spanish.
Yeah.
A lot of his friends speak Spanish and he already wants to learn it because like a few of them will talk to each other in Spanish. So a lot of his friends are like half their families from Mexico, half from America sort of thing. So it's a very big part of what's going on here. And the Mexican community obviously love football. So that's actually been really good. So that is fun. And a lot of people that find out that I do this show actually have started to show a lot more interest in being my friend. Although I tell them, to be honest, judging by the way my season's going, I'm afraid I can't help you as much as I should be able to with FPL. But that's a different story. Mate, what is going on? Because like I came into this weekend, I mean, you've had a very good week, but I was like, okay, I've got Saka against Everton. I've got Palmer against Brentford. I've got Salah going up against Fulham.
All three of them bankers.
I thought that should be good. I've got a home game for Liam Delap. Sorry, not home game. I've got a good game for Liam Delap against Wolves. I've got João Pedro with a pretty decent home fixture against Crystal Palace. Chris Wood, he might do all right. You've got Aston Villa at home. Mate, there's no points on my screen. There's no points. Yeah. What's happened?
We're also worried with captaincy being like, oh, Saka, Salah, Palmer. What if one of them goes really big and the others don't and you get them wrong? No one went big.
Salah got 5, highest out of any of them.
I know. It was do you know the result we all knew would happen though was Isak and Newcastle smashing Leicester, but we didn't feel like it was worth ripping up your team for. We all said buy Isak. Everyone knew Isak was a good punt this week. But, that felt like the biggest win, the Newcastle players. I had Lewis Hall, so obviously I got lucky because you don't expect to attack.
Was that where your points came from? A lot of them, was it?
I absolutely take that. I brought in Enzo, but I sold Bruno. Like Enzo got an assist again, and Enzo's position we have to talk about. Ahmad is someone we've been speaking about a lot on this podcast. In fact, there won't be another FPL podcast out there that has loved Ahmad as much as Dean and I for the last month. Like, we've told everyone.
Why didn't I pick him? It's 4.9 million when we started talking about this.
Mate, we literally, I can't quite fathom the amount of airtime I've spoke about why you should buy Ahmad. Yeah, I haven't done it myself, you know? Like, it's all I tell people. But I'm delighted there's people in the chat messaging me saying, thank you for the Ahmad tip. 3 weeks ago, I bought him.
Yeah, CH, I think is one of those, isn't it? Yeah.
CH is definitely one of those. And that was on you, mate, because you went really early on Ahmad. I was following in your footsteps. But yeah, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about captaincy in game week 17 as like a little nod to what might be coming up. But those budget mids, man, they are key to the game. And if you've got Ahmad and Enzo performing to good levels, and at the moment they are, but we've also got the likes of Semenyo and Iwobi, and at the start of the season, Smith Rowe, Morgan Rogers, I still think is a good own. You could have 2 or 3 of those 5 million midfielders. And if you have 2 or 3 of them, you can really go big guns. And actually, I wonder if Ismail Sarr needs a mention, midfielder. Thank you, FPL Down Under. Yeah, amazing. Yeah. It's when, not if, with Haaland, isn't it? We're going to want to bring him back soon at some point.
Are we? I don't know.
If that's the case, we're going to need those budget mids. Well, what's your take? Let's go to Man City.
Let's go to Man City, a dead team. It's just unbelievable how vulnerable and poor this team actually are. Pep walked away from that pitch like a completely broken man, took his coat off, put it under his arm, and just walked away from there in a manner of which, with 9 out of 10 managers, would have been them walking towards their sacking. Honestly, like, that's how bad this is. And the thing is, the problem with this City team is they've all addressed the problems. And coming into this game, you had like key players from the team, Gundogan, Ruben Dias, Bernardo, talking very openly about the lack of confidence, about where things were going wrong. And they spoke as far as I'm concerned, they spoke too much about it. They've given us too much. Yeah, they gave us too much. And you know that this team is shot mentally.
Is that an arrogance thing on their part?
No, it's not. It's not an arrogance, because they're trying, and they know what they're not far away from it. There's just something missing. And I said it on Ranks. We did a preview of the game for the podcast that went out on Friday. And I was like, honestly, I think it'll be a draw. But if I had to pick a winner, I'd go Man United, because as soon you can let Man City have the ball these days, let them believe that things are going well for them. Yeah. And then the second you get a chance to be in transition, a second you get to turn them around, they're gone.
That's what Juventus did. Man City had all the ball.
Yeah. The pivot's not there. The pivot's not there in the middle. And so they haven't got people like, this isn't just because of Rodri. It basically is. It basically is, because they don't have that person that sits in front of the defence, breaks things up, makes little passes, makes the right passes, but also can spray things wide and get things going faster. But it's the breaking things down element of play that they do not have anymore. And someone that can make back those grounds when they are going backwards. So there's that element of it. ISG says no excuses for City not scoring enough goals. Well, there is, because they should not have let Alvarez go and not replace him. I mean, that is one of the biggest mistakes we've seen so far this season. They never replaced Riyad Mahrez. They haven't replaced Julian Alvarez. And you're now in a situation whereby you're paying the cost of that, because, you know, Haaland, as soon as the goals are drying up, you're in big trouble. It was just a really, really strange game. I think Kyle Walker's play acting sums up where we are at Man City. I mean, what is he doing? What is he doing? It's really bad, isn't it? So I don't know if we do want Haaland, mate, to be honest with you. The only thing I'd say with City is the next game, no, 100% you don't want Man City on the next game week. They will lose to Aston Villa away.
But then you want, you might want Haaland, because that's a big ceiling.
The repair work might begin after Aston Villa. That's the only thing. If I was a Man City fan, and I actually spoke to a Man City fan about this recently, actually, he was like dreading the next two, to be honest, because I think we'll come out of it 1 win out of 12 after United and Villa. It's like, but after Christmas, we have got Everton, and then we've got Leicester, and you'd like to believe that you can come through those two, regain some confidence, play West Ham at home, and then the January transfer window opens and you can get a body through the door or two, and then you start to rebuild. Savio was the Mahrez replacement.
It was a year later.
ISG. I like, yeah, ISG that kind of is, but is Savio Savio hasn't got a goal yet. Like,
yeah,
I'm not
like for like. When we say replacements, we're not talking about pure numbers.
Like,
it's
have you
starting
replaced
11.
this guy? Yeah, he's not been.
And also,
replaced.
wasn't that a year later?
Yeah, when did Mahrez
They sold Mahrez, and there was a year with no one on the right. Foden played there a lot, I think.
Yeah, there would have been. Obviously, they signed him knowing he was coming in, but he didn't actually arrive until a while back. So, Amateur, why are they going to lose to Aston Villa? What do you mean? Why?
At the moment, you'd have to say Villa at home probably go into that game as slight favourites.
I don't even know if I'd say slight, mate. I think anyone facing Man City right now would be really excited.
I mean, look at their results if you want to know why. Like, look at the last 10 games.
Like, I think you would be excited to be playing this team right now. And I think that even an Aston Villa team that isn't the best version of themselves, they're not fearing this game as far as I'm concerned.
It's the defensive frailties. Like, they are conceding big chances to fight. And many might go, oh, it could have been a 1-0 City win on another day. I'm sorry, Man United deserved that win. If you look at the big chances over the game, you look at the XG, Man United had the better of it. City didn't do much.
They've just, again, like, it comes down to the fact they just exploited the frailties that exist there. Yeah. And it doesn't really matter that it took until that late in the game to completely expose it. That's when they've won the game. That's when you win a game. And they done it. And the second that Matheus Nunes made that foul, there's an angle of it. You could see he makes the foul. Bernardo Silva is like way back on the halfway line. He's right near Pep Guardiola too. And both of them at exactly the same time have their head in their hands and basically fall down. Like, what have you done? Again. Bernardo's even said they played like under 15s in the last 10 minutes. He called Nunes out basically in what he was saying. I mean, this will be Nunes.
He's not starting the next game off that one error. Matheus Nunes will be used as a scapegoat, which is a bit unfair. But
he'll probably leave Man City. I think this will be his last season at Man City.
We have to talk about Foden as well, by the way, because Notorious just put Foden's 1.9 points a match this season. Like, he has been dross.
He has.
Cole Palmer is everything Phil Foden should have been.
Isn't it weird? Like, I mean, you obviously get. I think that the Euros has had a massive impact on England players across the board.
Watkins too.
I think Watkins, Foden, Rashford has had
Bellingham for a bit.
Bellingham had it. Rashford's had implications from it. I think that everything that happened in a variety of ways has really affected England.
Maybe even Trippier and Walker when you look at their form.
Mate, I think you can go through the squad. I think the only one that's really done what Pickford's done quite well. Pickford's having quite a good season.
2 bonus points.
Has anyone else had a particularly good season? Right. Say no.
I mean, Stones with his injuries, no. Mark Gahey's been a bad season for Palace.
Yeah, he's not having a good season.
Maybe, but
he's not having a good season.
Saka's done well.
Yeah, true. Saka's mentally pretty strong.
Yeah, the kid, but he is. But Kane?
Yeah, I mean, Kane's kind of like fireproof, isn't he?
He's bulletproof, and
doesn't really get. Yeah, he doesn't.
I mean, when you spent 10 years at Spurs, you become immune.
Yeah. But even say that Kane's missed a few games with injury, which doesn't really happen. I think he's missed 3 or 4 through injury for Bayern, which isn't usually the case.
Yeah, I think he might be out for a few weeks still.
Yeah, it'll be his biggest injury layoff in a while. But yeah, Eddie says United won without Rashford and Garnacho was great. I mean, what a ruthless decision that is, and what a fantastic decision that is, because both those players completely deserve it. And when you get Ruben Amorim talking afterwards about setting the standards, and you've got people at this club losing their jobs, people who were probably earning, 15, 20 grand a year, and you're earning 250 grand a week. Like, I like that message that he's sending out. Like, if you're going to be here and you're earning that sort of money, you better be good, because otherwise you won't be here. And I think both of those players, I say they've got to fight for their future. I still don't understand who would actually sign Marcus Rashford at the moment. But it'll be interesting to see if he can bounce back from this. But yeah, the weird thing is, mate, I guess from Man United and Man City FPL perspective, if you were to rank 3 players from either of those teams, 3 Manchester-based players right now, who would be the 3 players that you would advise as good picks going forward for somebody's team?
Ahmad number 1, Bruno number 2. That's
Yeah.
without even thinking about it. I had 2 so obvious buys in FPI, and I know I've just sold Bruno, but I do still rank Trent as more of a priority. Maybe I'm wrong, and I think Ahmad's the number 1 pick, and he can fill the Bruno role. But if you're not interested in Ahmad, Bruno's great. Number 3,
Honestly,
you could maybe still say Gvardiol. He has had 4 goals. The goal threat at Gvardiol is impressive, but I don't know if I could buy a player that's playing for a team that's not going to get cleans.
Yeah, I mean, him or Mazraoui would probably be the third one that I'd put forward. I think that they both go end up on similar-ish sort of points. You'd probably say, they both got, possibilities going forward, but they're both going to concede goals for now. So, yeah, a lot of people saying the same, actually. Ahmad, Bruno, Gvardiol, Mazraoui, Bruno, Ahmed. But there's no doubt that the top 2 players in Manchester right now are Ahmad and Bruno. And that is an interesting place to be.
Talk to us about Rashford and Garnacho, because you mentioned about the right thing to do leaving them out of the squad. We don't see that. You don't see a new manager come in and make those brave, bold decisions. You see benchings and rotation, but leaving them out of the squad was the statement, because you're not you'd expect them to have been on the bench, right? Do you like that from Amorim? And is Marcus Rashford in particular just a rotten egg? Because this is the 3rd or 4th manager that's he's been pulled on disciplinary by everyone since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for different, when it was lateness, when it was partying in wherever. The PR around Rashford from his personal life has always been so strong until the performance on the pitch go. But now you look at it and go, there's a lot of managers calling him out for being a rotten egg, effectively.
It's crazy, isn't it? There was so much good PR around Rashford from COVID and stuff when he was helping feed the children.
The golden boy.
But I mean, his PR team did an unbelievable job around that for starters.
Clearly. We see now and we go, okay, makes,
And he didn't really embrace that side of his footballing personality and realizing what he had there. People say, I'm going to do a podcast actually after this on ranks. And one of the questions that I saw that came in was is there a pressure on players that come through clubs that is just impossible to live up to? And they were talking about Trent and talking about Rashford. And I was like, I think it's the opposite, because you get so many chances. If you are homegrown, the fan base will give you so many opportunities to prove yourself, and you can have bad games and they'll let you off. Whereas when you're bought as a big money signing, I don't think it's the case. And I think that Rashford and Trent, the thing that's letting both of them down is their attitude and application, and that's just not okay. We know how good they are at football. So, why aren't you showing it? Rashford just has this weird body language about him. And Trent, honestly, in a way, I'd start to put in the same boat, because, he has no desire to defend. None. Fulham kind of exposed Trent for what he is as a defender, I think, at the weekend. And I think Robinson had him on toast after time.
Yeah.
Look at the goal we scored from Pereira. It came from It came from opening up Trent, dragging him in, leaving a gap behind, getting him behind there. He's never going to stop a cross. So, yeah, I think that these players have just got to realize, wake up and live in the real world for a bit. And if they think that things are going to be easier at Real Madrid or PSG, then good luck, because actually the standards will be higher there. The fans will be ruthless there. And you might have a nice life off the pitch, but it's going to be very difficult off it. So let's see whether they can both fix this situation. I mean, I'm amazed that I keep saying, I don't see why people are buying Trent in this game.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting.
And I still can't see it.
I know why you're anti that move, and I completely get it. I think if I was you, I'd be similar. Those that are buying Trent, like me, those that want Trent, like big man, we are have been playing FPL longer and are more, you'd say, hardcore FPLers who probably have this weird nostalgia about Trent.
Really?
You don't have that. Like, we've bought Trent at 8.5 million, and he's been the best defender in the game for a long time. And therefore,
Okay.
we're probably watching him with rose-tinted glasses this season.
Right.
I think I'm guilty of that, because when you talk about Trent defensively and has he got, the contract situation, but his attitude, they're all really, really fair points. And also, we can't underestimate, under Jurgen Klopp, especially early Jurgen Klopp, when the fullbacks were like wing backs, he was an amazing own. But more recently, he doesn't have the same attacking license. He doesn't pick up those attacking positions. You could argue Anthony Robinson's average position is better than a Trent's average position. I know one's a left back and plays for Fulham, one's a right back and plays for Liverpool, but it's not like he's high and wide all the time like he used to be 4 or 5 years ago, or really, really, really high but inverted like he was at the end of the Klopp. Arne Slot doesn't let his fullbacks do much in the final third. So we're relying on that quality from distance, really, whether it's a long ball and a creative pass or an assist, a cross, or a shot from distance. And we might just get them. And I guess that's why I'm still there with Trent.
Yeah, Heather says, I bought Trent for the first time in FPL a few weeks ago. I'm now thinking of selling him. I mean, I wouldn't do that. That's one thing I wouldn't do, actually, because you have got this spell coming up where Trent actually surely will be worth it. I mean, Sokan says, I've got no nostalgia for Trent, just a great asset from game week 18. And that's when they play against Leicester. And yeah, I can see the upside of that. ISG says this Trent's worst performing season so far. I mean, gee, seeing as you're nostalgic about it, you'll probably know how the numbers compare or what the expectations are. I guess at this price point, it's got to be his worst. It's got to be his worst in terms of returning points, isn't it?
Trent, yeah. He's on 3 assists this season, like no goals, 3 assists, and he's played the vast majority of the games. That's not good enough for the most expensive defender in the game. If he's mid-priced defender, yes, it's fine, 3 assists, but you should be getting more than that. His underlying numbers have been slightly better in terms of assist threat, not much in terms of goal threat. I think he hit the post versus City, but yeah, usually you take 15 games of Trent and you've had more than 3 attacking returns. In fact, I think history tells us you absolutely almost guarantee it. So he has been underperforming without a shadow of a doubt. But Liverpool better defensively this year.
They are. Personally, I'll be playing Conor Bradley, honestly. Mate, here's the big Liverpool question. Diogo Jota, is it time to bring him in?
Mate, I'm eyeing it up. Like
I was looking at it last night. I was like, can I get here already? Because he scored the way he runs away celebrating is like, I'm here. Don't worry, I'm here. I'm back. Whatever he said, yeah, it's like, and it was like, this is what they have they've been missing this.
But no one stepped into the role when he's out for what 5, 6, 7 games. Darwin's got an unbelievable opportunity to stake a claim. Luis Diaz can't get in on the left now because Gakpo's first choice. Luis Diaz plays a lot of games as number 9 or has done. It's just not done it. And everyone told me at the start of the season, Jota's rotation risk, and no one will buy Jota. Mate, the hardcore FPLers won't go near Jota now because they will go minutes risk. You and I, this is where we can steal a march because we're not scared of a minutes risk and we're quite good at predicting who's first choice and who's not. Yeah. And Diogo Jota started the first 7 of the first 8 Premier League games this season as Liverpool's number 9. Yeah. Do not tell me he's a minutes risk when he starts 7 of 8. He was first choice pre-season. He was first choice to start the season. They missed him when he weren't there. Diogo Jota will be first choice Liverpool number 9. Maybe not from this weekend, but definitely the weekend after, which, by the way, is when they got a great fixture.
They've got Leicester at home. Yeah, I was going to say
that's when I want him.
Tottenham away, though, like even if he comes off the bench,
it's not bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad, and it's like
Dragonson and Archie Gray at centre back.
I'm not saying like you need to go there right now, but from game week 18 onwards, Jota's a much better pick than Trent. He's got to be.
Got the slaughter.
He's got to be I hated the fact he was coming on as a Fulham fan, and obviously like once we're winning and they're down to 10 men, you've got a certain level of expectation in that game, but there's still that fear factor because the cop basically counts for a player once you get into the second half, and they're kind of trying to breathe it into the back of the net, and I'm just waiting for it to happen. Jota's the last person you want lingering around the box. Like, he's so good. We survived it. A lot of teams would not, and Leicester City, I'd say, absolutely have no chance. West
They
Ham.
perform like they did at St James's Park, Leicester City on the road over the weekend. If they go to Anfield, that'll be 10, not 4. I mean, Newcastle had 27 shots.
Did they have 27 shots? I've only seen. I watched like the 12-minute highlight package last night because I was like, oh, I haven't actually seen this game yet.
27 shots.
Oh my days.
11 on target. First for XG of all teams. 5 big chances. But yeah, 27 shots.
That's crazy. I mean, just from the highlights that I saw, I just found it amazing how much space Murphy always had on the right side. It was like Leicester didn't have a left back. It was like there was always this huge gap. I mean, Murphy should have scored 4, to be honest. He had so many opportunities and so much time and space all the time. Now, I don't know if that's because Newcastle were very good at working things down the left and that naturally other teams get drawn in, and that was a tactic to leave Murphy free, or if Leicester are just terrible at left side. But obviously, if Leicester are this bad on the right side and they are playing Liverpool soon, then it means we've got Salah points to come very soon too, with them targeting that. So I would definitely bear that in mind. Leicester have Wolves at the weekend, so who knows? I can't say target Leicester against Wolves because I don't know what we'll be getting exactly, but certainly a big weakness in that Leicester defence.
Mate, I mean, Leicester go to Newcastle, concede 27 shots. Leicester go to Anfield on Boxing Day for Jota's first start back, probably. I mean, if you can save 2
It's the late game as well. Do you know, like
is
Boxing,
it?
It's like the 8 p.m. kickoff on Boxing Day. So you've had your Christmas.
Happy Boxing Day.
You're a bit
Salah anyway. We may as well have double Liverpool attack.
Yeah, you're a bit bloated. You've had a lovely time. You sit down, you just want to chill, and you're like, "Oh, I've got a Jota."
I've got
Salah
3% owned Jota, probably. You know. So my moves this week, mate. I'm thinking, and we need your take on this. If Cunha is suspended, which I think he has to get a ban, you can't do that. He's pretty much eye gouging the Ipswich coach. He rips his glasses off. We saw Kudus banned for 5 games. Could Cunha get the same? If he does, and Cunha the sell, and I downgrade him to like say a 5.5 million forward called Raul Jimenez. Speak more about him in a second. I can then go say Morgan Rogers up to Jota.
Yeah.
What do you make of Cunha first and foremost?
As a player, amazing. I mean, Wolves absolutely lost their heads, though, didn't they? Ryan Aït-Nouri being carried and thrown down the tunnel, and then Cunha also losing his mind. I mean, that's just a team that was just done. I still don't believe that Gary O'Neill was that bad. Wolves fans will not agree, and I've checked out Wolves forums just to see, get the vibe check.
They hated him at the end, didn't they?
Oh, they're like, why does everybody outside of this club think that he's good and think
he
that
speaks well?
But their point was, okay, how would all these clubs feel if he was announced as their manager? I was like, that's a good point. That's a fair point, Fulham, mate. That's a fair point. And to be honest, even when you go back to when Fulham lost 4-1 to Wolves a few weeks back, we battered them for half an hour. It was the bet.
When Cunha scored the brace?
Yeah. For half an hour, we were 1-0 up early on. We should have gone 2-0 up. For 30 minutes, I was like, this is going to be 3 or 4-0. And then somehow they got back into it, like a long ball, one chance. They were back in it at 1-1. And Fulham just fell away in that game. It was a really poor second half performance from Fulham. Probably their worst all season. But for Wolves, you're a little bit like, well, that has been coming because they're a decent team. There was no trend to it. It's completely blown up. And they're gone. Gary O'Neill's gone. It looks like, I haven't seen, obviously, whether they've made the appointment today, but as I went to bed last night, it looked like they were bringing Vitor Pereira.
I don't think that's been confirmed yet, but yeah, I saw the same links, yeah.
So
buyout clauses and stuff.
Feels a bit risky. Doesn't feel like a fail-proof idea. But they will sign as a
relegation scrap, is it? You would think you could go someone that knows the league a bit.
You'd think that, yeah. But
they're not mid-table, looking to improve how they play football.
They'll sign 2 defenders, which will probably help. And they should have done a goalkeeper. You know, Jose Sar's had a terrible season.
But Sam Johnson they brought in.
And they brought him, but they've rotated him. And when they've rotated him, it doesn't even work.
Yeah.
And
You
I
need a
don't know.
clear number one, but they never replaced Max Kilman, did they?
No, I think that's the biggest mistake
They
of
had
all.
Mosquera come through and get starts, and then he got a bad injury, and they didn't replace him. So they just do not have the centre backs. Like players like Bueno are having to play centre back, and Totti, like they're not Premier League centre backs.
Mate, that own goal is hilarious. Like the own goal from Wolves, I genuinely lolled. I like.
I was at the pub. I got it up on my phone, so I read on live text, and I was watching Soccer Saturday. I was like, I need to watch this. It was great.
You know you're done when you're conceding goals like that. It's like it was something from the circus. It was like so funny that's how the ball's just like a pinball machine, and like it's like an. I don't even know how you describe how that ball's ended up going in the net off him. Poor lad. But yeah, it was very unfortunate. Notorious says Cunha is 5th on DPS all season. After
amazing stat, Notorious.
That's a great stat, yeah.
But I guess it is. What do you make of that ban, mate? Because we've all got an opinion on it. We're only speculating and guessing. Everyone in the chat, me, no one knows. But I respect your opinion more than anyone else's, including my own. Is he going to get banned for that? You do, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Like, I can't see how he doesn't. Why would he not get banned for that?
Yeah.
Like, I just can't understand, like, what.
So who are the best replacements? Is Raul Jimenez an option? Because I've said he's clearly first choice. He's going to get 75 minutes every game. He'll miss one game, I think the Boxing Day game, because you play Sunday, Thursday, Sunday. So maybe he has to miss Chelsea, because last time there was a midweek game, Muniz got a game. We told Big Man Backer that would happen, and it did. But the fixtures, take away Chelsea, and you've got 3 good home fixtures. I know the numbers haven't been there for Raul Jimenez of late, but if you just take, can they score big against Southampton at home, Bournemouth at home, and Ipswich at home? Whoever's the number 9, when you've got players like Iwobi, Pereira, Smith Rowe, Wilson behind you, Robinson. Raul Jimenez is a good pick, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I've been dubious about this all season.
No, but he's 5.5 mil.
At 5.5 mil, this is the point, really. I mean, I think that obviously, like João Pedro's 5.9, so is he the most comparable striker you can get? How much is Liam Delap?
Yeah,
Liam Delap's 5.6. Obviously, Liam Delap's suspended for the next one, so I wouldn't say bring him in for the next game. And then Ipswich don't obviously have great fixtures after that.
Does the Muniz goal influence anything in terms of start? How much should I be as bullish?
Muniz has played. He's got a decent record of starting against Chelsea, to be honest. I think quite often he has been used for that game. So it wouldn't surprise me. And Marcus Silva's not going to be afraid to use him. But I'd say the start percentage expectation of Raul Jimenez would be high. And yeah, the way that Fulham are playing, I think that you're as good at being on Jimenez as you are João Pedro or Delap or Wood or anyone like that, really. I mean, I am very concerned, to be honest, about what I did with my attack, mate. I like the fact that I downgraded my attack to cheaper picks and I didn't leave money in the bank is now leaving me a little bit concerned that I've got Chris Wood, João Pedro and Liam Delap as my 3 forwards.
Yeah, when you put it like that, mate. I've got Solanke no better.
I mean, he is better though.
That's 5 goals, and he gets in
he actually played all right though. Like the thing is, his off the ball work is so good.
Great player, shocking FPL asset. Dom Solanke is a disgrace to FPL.
A disgrace. Can we cut that out? Just put that out as short.
Honestly, more points than Dom Solanke this season. Right? Strand Larsen has more points than Dom Solanke this season. Raul Jimenez, more points than Dom Solanke. Those 2 cost 5.5 million. Evan Nilsson, Jamie Vardy, Danny Welbeck, Johan Visser, Chris Wood. I can go on. They've all got mostly lower minutes and more points than Dom Decoy Solanke. And I call him Decoy because that's all he is. They don't look for him.
They don't really, no. They don't really look for him. You're right.
Sick of it. I've owned him for like 10 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, he did, what we said about Southampton, like, for Tottenham assets was right. They have the high press. Southampton will not be able to handle having possession low in their on the pitch. The manager's now been sacked as a result of I've lost 5-0. I had Johnson 0 points.
Hmm.
0 points he's got coming off the bench against Southampton, and he's come out of it with 0 points because he got 1 point and then got taken away for a yellow card. So Brennan Johnson, cheers, mate.
Do you know who got really lucky? Pedro Porro owners, because he was benched, but then came on after 25 minutes and therefore did enough to earn the clean sheet because he got like 65 minutes.
Right.
So Pedro Porro owners went from, he's not going to even get any minutes today to, he's just banked me a clean sheet points.
Unbelievable. Michael says United have 6 clean sheets this season. Is one of their defenders worth a punt? I mean, I think Mazraoui is the only one I would go to personally. I don't see. Is there anyone else? Is Dalot? I don't know how much Dalot is.
I still don't know about the wing backs because is Amad Diallo going to continue in the front three, or is he going to move to wing back? And if he moves to wing back, then it's Dalot or Mazraoui each week.
Well, the problem you've got. It's difficult. I don't know which way to read this one. So Mason Mount was becoming a start. Like Amorim loved Mason Mount. And I actually wrote a piece for Give Me Sport last week, just after the European game. It was like, Mason Mount is in line to start the Manchester derby. Rashford's spot is under threat now in the team. His big dilemma is now whether to keep playing Amad Diallo in that front, in that two behind the striker where he wants him. That is where Ruben Amorim wants Diallo. Or does he have to move him back out wide? And his reason he needs to move him back out wide is because when Ahmed's not out there, there's nobody else that can do that role in the same way. But obviously that's not Diallo's position. We've got to remember that is not Amad Diallo's position. And Amorim does not want to play him out of position. He wants him on the ball as much as he can. And he wants him to be a number 10. Darius, Ahmed's role as a 10 is nailed. It's not nailed because the fullbacks aren't quite consistent enough and good enough to do it. If United end up signing a left back in January, then Ahmed can get more time as one of the 10s. And, you'll have Dalot and then Mazraoui competing for the right side. But look, Diallo will always be in this Man United team. That's one thing that we know. And so he's still a very, very safe asset going forward for Man United. Mount would have started if he wasn't injured. Yeah, I mean, Mason Mount is now a complete liability.
Is that likely to be? I mean, you don't go off like he did early on unless it's something quite serious. I guess he's not playing for the.
No, you can't trust him at this point. Like if he's going off after 10 minutes of a derby when they've been very careful about working him back in. They've had all these meetings and strategy, and
I bought him in my draft team when I saw he was in the 11. I went straight in, mate. I was so happy.
There was big plans for him, and if he was fully fit, I think he would do really well in this team. It's just not going to work, You think how much money United have wasted on players like him, in wages on him and Shaw and players like that, and Martial over the years. It's absolutely ludicrous. Obviously,
Mason Mount never used to get injured. When he was a kid, like at Chelsea, we never had injury problems with him. And then just before he left Chelsea, and then all his time at United, it's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. Sometimes you can't overcome them. Disgusting. Just got into the top 5K.
That is amazing.
4 free transfers. Save up to go Saka to Haaland, or just so slow play it.
I mean, I don't think Saka's a must-have like Palmer and Salah feel like they're must-haves. But at the same time, the way City are playing, I don't think we need to make that saving. I would just monitor the Saka situation. Like his blanks in FPL haven't been great, but in the Champions League against Monaco last week, he went and got a 16-pointer. Like, it was amazing. So I don't hate that move, but let's monitor Saka.
Yeah.
Mikalenko's great because Sean Dyche will always get you clean sheets. And do you know what? That will happen when you expect Dyche to get a clean. He usually does. So Mikalenko at 4.3 has been brilliant for me. I mean, I benched him this week for a 7-pointer, but
I benched Mbeumo.
Oh, mate, I said he won't get anything at Stamford Bridge, and it was a very late.
As soon as he started breaking,
you knew, didn't you?
Oh, mate, he's bearing down towards that 18-yard.
He never misses one-on-one.
He ain't missing this. Yeah, he's so good at those.
That's what makes him, for me, a high ceiling player that clubs will spend a lot of money on, because you can go and spend 70-80 million on a Darwin Núñez, but if he's through one-on-one, you don't expect the net to bulge. But Mbeumo.
You do, mate, and this is why his stats have put him on the radar of 3, maybe 4 teams: Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle can't afford him. But yeah, those sorts of clubs are seriously looking at Mbeumo and have been for a few months now. So this will be his last season at Brentford. And it'll just be interesting to see which side actually takes a chance on him. What they're trying to figure out, these teams, is like how his style of play would fit into their team. And it's an issue they're having with, any player. Say Ademola Lookman at Atalanta, right? There's 4 or 5 teams at the moment scouting Ademola Lookman, and they're not scouting in the sense of like, oh, is there any doubt that this guy's good? That's not the issue. It's like, why is he particularly good for Atalanta, and why has he never been this consistently good in the Premier League? And it's because Atalanta have a very clear system that works for him, and he has this role which you can't really replicate unless you do the whole system. So similar with Mbeumo, like Brentford play in a very particular way with him, but for someone that plays on that side of the attack, he's kind of unbeatable as an asset. So that is something to consider. Someone just asked about Joachim Andersen. I mean, he wasn't even on the bench at the weekend against Liverpool. I think he'll be back after Christmas. That would be my guess.
Neil Robertson's in the house.
Oi, oi.
There we go. Oh, thanks, Neil. He's having nightmares at 2-0 when Flecken took the free kick in his own half and Enzo couldn't quite find the pass to Palmer. Neil messaged in the WhatsApp group, and when I wasn't watching, but I knew Neil was, and I was looking for all his updates because like Neil's update's going to be quicker than anything I read on live text. And I had bits of radio commentary, but knowing I owned Enzo and Captain Palmer, I was like, oh man, Enzo assist, Palmer goal would have just been glorious.
Mate, were you on 60 points though? Like that is high for this week.
It's a good week. I can't complain. I've had a big green arrow.
That is a good
Lewis
week.
Hall was massive. When you have a player get 15 points and they're 2% owned or whatever Lewis Hall is, you just know it doesn't really matter how the rest of your week goes because you just know, even if you hit an average score, that 15 pointer is huge. And loads that had Isak also on a big green arrow.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, like and subscribe if you haven't already. And Sashant has just reminded me that we have got a members zone, which has been going off over the weekend on the WhatsApp. To join the WhatsApp group, you need to join our top tier membership scheme. I'm sure somebody will drop a link into the chat. But otherwise, it's on the home screen of Chasing Green Arrows on YouTube. Sometimes you can only get it on your laptop rather than your phone, but you click through there, you sign up. And then we just need your phone number details DM'd to us, which you can do through any of our socials. And then the producer will stick you in the WhatsApp group. We've got a really nice little group of people in there at the moment, and everyone's getting on very nicely. We had a few new members join Chasing Green Arrows Elite Members Club ahead of last week, and they really enjoyed their first weekend. Trust me, like this chat is just 24/7. It's so funny. It doesn't matter. There's so many different time zones in there. You've always got someone to chat FPL to, and everyone in there is becoming good mates. So yeah, if you fancy it and you want to talk to someone about FPL at any time of day, this is the place to be. Yeah, Matthew Perry, come on down, join us. Matthew Perry is a big member of that community.
Oh, is he? Is he in the WhatsApp, Matt? Okay. Yes. Mate, we've got to talk about knowing Neil's watching. Neil obviously Chelsea fan. I was asked earlier if triple Chelsea attack is too much, but given the price points of Jackson and Enzo, they're hardly breaking the bank, and obviously Palmer, I don't think that triple up's bad at all. Like, I'm looking at Neil's team. Neil's got Jackson, Enzo, Palmer, and I've got 2 of the 3. And I must admit, going Solanke to Jackson rather than Isak for the next few, and then maybe onto Isak later, is something I'm considering. I mean, Everton away, it's tough, but you expect Chelsea if they score early. Well, Goodison Park with Sean Dyche can be tough, but I mean, we're all happy to captain Salah.
Tarkowski's improved, which is helping them. Tarkowski had a terrible start to the season. He's actually playing quite well at the moment. Yeah,
exactly. Like Everton, Fulham, Ipswich, then Palace, Bournemouth, Wolves. Like that's an unbelievable
dream
run.
Mate,
Jackson, that goal yesterday. He just to go. I'm going to face you up, Pinnock. And I'm going to just go. It was like kids in the playground where you're playing Wembley and you're 1-on-1 and you're just going to try and do a trick or a bit of pace to beat. And Jackson just rinsed Pinnock and then gets the shot near post. Quality goal.
Mate, Chelsea will go top of the league during that run of games. They will go top of the league. This is not like people are not taking this seriously enough. Chelsea are in the title race, and they probably won't win it because their defense is not good enough. So unless they sign like a top centre back in January, which they might, I was speaking to someone last week who was explaining to me why Chelsea might actually do it, and that there is going to be money probably now available that they weren't planning to spend. Yeah, it's complicated, but there is some investment that they're considering. And if they go and sign a proper centre back, then this is that. Why? I don't know if I've said this on here or not, but like after you've spent £1 billion
on wide forwards
to get here, with half of them that are no good, why would you not go and spend another £80 million now and win the league?
Yeah,
because it's there for the taking.
What centre backs are up for grabs though? What good top tier elite centre backs are up for grabs? I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I don't know if you've thought about it. But
look, I mean, in terms of what ones that are gettable, and I mean, you tell me whether you think this is good enough. But Zabanyi at Bournemouth is somebody that they are looking at, and that is gettable for. I mean, I'm going to make up a fee because I haven't looked into this yet, but say 50 million, 50 million, and you can get Zabanyi, who like knows what it's all about. I think that they will go for someone probably that level. So when I say like top level,
Bastoni plays for I think the second, third best team in Europe. Like, let's not pretend Bastoni's like, oh, he's in a farmers league. Like,
Upamecano doesn't fix anything, by the way, at the moment. I don't trust him, Upamecano, any more than I trust Badiashile, I don't think, anymore.
Oh, Badiashile, Tosin. I mean, but let's bring Neil's comment back up. Like, I think Neil mentioned Tosin, and we obviously got him on a free, but his big wages, right? Like, he must be. He's not good enough to be a Chelsea starter, is he, Dean? And you said this, but when we bought him,
mate, he's not good enough to be a Fulham starter. Like, I was not bothered at all. Tosin, I've never known a player believe his own hype more than this lad. Like, he is so confident that he's the best centre back in the world, and he ain't. He's decent, but he's a fourth choice centre back, whoever he's playing for, unless he's in the Championship. Like, he's obviously come through at Man City. You've got to be extremely good, obviously, to even do that. But at Fulham, he was a very patchy player, and yeah, anyone that was listening at the time knows that I could not believe that Chelsea were signing him.
FPL Freddie's Jack Steve Southampton fan. Freddie lives in Dorset. Other centre back, yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm with you there. Like, you could go get. I think I told you I watched Zabanyi live game week 1. He went to Forest, but I was really impressed. It was one of those. I hadn't realised he was that good.
Yeah, well, there you go. Look, Arsenal aren't going to challenge for this title. All right, they're not. They've just had 2 weeks where they could have like put themselves in a really strong position, and they've messed it up. And Chelsea have not messed up. Man City obviously have messed up. So I think at the moment you're looking at it, Chelsea are 2 points off Liverpool. Yes, Liverpool have got a game in hand, but that game in hand's not coming for a little while now. So you've just got to make the most of this opportunity. And there is no reason at the moment to really doubt Chelsea. And that run of fixtures underlines that. So a triple Chelsea attack for the next 6 game weeks is, I think, one of the best pathways you can actually take in this game at the moment. I'm going to have to go in 2 minutes, by the way, mate, because I've got to get out of this room because my wife needs it for a meeting. But
nice. It's fine, mate. Mark Gahey, obviously Chelsea lad.
Yes, but
he didn't really want to go Newcastle. I think he'd want to go Chelsea.
He would, yeah. And the problem with Gahey is his form.
Yeah,
like, he's a great defender, but he's not actually in form. So, like, suddenly, if you've got to pay 70 million to get Mark Gahey, you know he's good. You know he's very good, but you would watch him across this season and be like, "Are we paying 70 million for that?" That's the problem. And obviously, Palace don't want to lose him mid-season anyway.
Oh, Adam just mentioned Milenkovic. I'd go so far to say he's been signing of the season. Like, I think they paid 10, 12 million for him. I don't know why Fiorentina let him go for that, because he was really high. He was really good for Fiorentina. I don't know why they let him go for that, but the goal threat as well. He's so good in the air.
Murillo's the one that gets linked with a lot of people. Murillo's the one that a lot of teams are looking at. Andrew says Ruben Dias to Chelsea. I mean, this rumour was put out the other day that Man City would be willing to sell.
I'm not sure I want him.
Man City would be willing to sell him, and that Chelsea could be buying him. I mean, I can tell you both of those things are not true. Man City and not looking to sell Ruben Dias. He's one of their only good players left. And yeah, Ice G Dean, last minute sum up game week. Oh, I love it. I love that I'm getting instructions from Chasing Green Arrows. I love that. Thank you, Ice G.
The chat dictate the agenda as always.
I absolutely do.
We love it.
Game week 16. I mean, look, I got 32 points. I've got 2 players playing tonight, but I'm still very, very disappointed with my outlook of where I got to. I cannot believe that this is what my points look like right now. Kirkes and Fabianski doesn't even really help me unless this game is a 0-0.
Double Arsenal defense saved you, really.
Completely saved me. It would have been possibly my worst game week ever if they'd have conceded a goal. So,
if Brennan doesn't come off the bench, you get him Burmo.
I know, mate. Can you believe that? I mean, he was always going to come on, obviously, but come on. My looking back, it's just like the unpredictability of this league is continuing. And I think if you go back and think again about that assistant manager chip and you're thinking about how you're going to use that chip, like later on in the season, I still think it's worth holding it later on in the season when this league becomes a bit more predictable, because the only things we really know, if you were to pick an assistant manager at the moment, as your like guaranteed win, you'd probably go in Chelsea. Like, I think
but you would have gone Liverpool and Everton and Arsenal at the weekend, and they both dropped points.
Exactly. So Chelsea are looking like, if you wanted those guaranteed points, then they're the only team you can really 100% trust, and then I'd probably put Liverpool below them. But we're still
getting Palace will be interesting because you'll be able to get those bonus extra 5 places above them. Teams like Palace that are on the upward trajectory.
Yes, exactly. So then you've got like Palace and Newcastle, teams that are like middling. Forest are still pulling out results, which I didn't think they'd do in that one. And then you got the Ipswich factor of teams down the bottom that are going to still manage to pluck out results. So it's just the inconsistencies of this season that I'm still getting my head around, and it's just making it so hard in this game.
Fair enough, mate. I'm going to let you go.
All right, mate.
You're back with us on Friday, yeah?
I will be back with you Friday. Have a great birthday, mate. Have a good evening.
Yeah. See you, mate. Take care.
Cheers, mate.
We'll see my team in a minute, guys. Don't go anywhere. Friday, by the way, is our normal slot, like we do Friday afternoon. So I'll show my team. I'm back with Big Man midweek. I might be back with Big Man tomorrow. I'm waiting to hear about that. We might be. 60 points. It's a good week. I don't have any players to play tonight. You've got to take your green arrows, and you shouldn't look back and complain. So I'm not going to do that. You'll probably know when my complaints might come. But Enzo 5 points, Palmer 4. I kind of needed those two to link up for a goal, and they so nearly did, as Neil mentioned. I do think that Chelsea attack, though, is one we want to invest in. Double Chelsea attack should be on, and triple is even worth considering. Leo says, hit that like button. Thank you, Leo. Yeah, we'd love you to hit the like. Those that went Salah captain, by the way, it's a nice little edge on those that went Palmer. And Cunha, is it his parting gift? He's been brilliant for us owners, but it might just be his parting gift. Let's see. And Lewis Hall feels like he's the defender now everyone's going to go and buy. If you own Aït-Nouri, who are you replacing him with? The vast majority will look at Hall and probably Robinson. Genuinely, and maybe Mikalenko if you want to move down. Like Mikalenko and Hall are cheap. Robinson's a little bit more expensive, but I think Robinson's the best of the three. Genuinely. I know I own Hall, but a lot of you watching own Aït-Nouri. Should we do a poll? Do you own Aït-Nouri? Yes or no? I bet 70%. I bet 60% of you owned Aït-Nouri in. We'll say, did you own Aït-Nouri in game week 16? Because some have already sold him. So we'll say, did you own him in game week 16? And I bet over half of you own Aït-Nouri. And have a look at Robinson. Did you own Aït-Nouri in game week 16? Get voting. I want to know if you're yeses or nos. I reckon over half, which is mental because he's not been very good. Why did you all buy him, by the way? I told you to buy Lewis Hall a month ago. When everyone bought Aït-Nouri, I bought Hall. It was a tight call. I got lucky. 71%. 70% of you. So what you're doing, right? You've got to sell him. I do think Hall is good. Joe Gomez is good, but he's transfer out waiting to happen. I don't think the Chelsea defence are good, and it rules out triple Chelsea attack. I think Mikalenko is great long-term, not short-term. I think Nottingham Forest defenders are always slept on. Why does no one own a Forest defender or sells? They're one of the best defences in the league this season. But I do think Anthony Robinson's the pick of the bunch. Ice G says he sold 8 Nori to Robinson yesterday. Price rise and falls. Yeah, there we go. Guys, thank you all very much for watching. We're going to say our goodbyes. We're back Wednesday and Friday. Do us a favor, though, if you're just joining in, if you've watched for like the last 5 minutes, go and watch the last hour. We've had a wicked chat, me and Dean, as always, on a Monday. So go watch on catch up. Do hit the like button on your way out. Do subscribe. Come back and see me and Big Man later in the week. It might be a Tuesday show, so we will let you know that, i.e. tomorrow. Also, our dates over Christmas are going to be all different. So we'll hopefully put a tweet out or something with our schedule so you guys know when to expect us. But the best way of knowing is hit the notification bell on your way out. Thank you all for the birthday love. I'm 37 years young today with lots of grey hairs coming through. So thank you, team, as always. It's been lovely to spend an hour on my birthday with you. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.